great presentation and, of course, for the great balance and the serious balance he made in the distribution of funds towards several ministries or the various ministries concerned and the various departments which of course are going to make use of these funds. Madam Speaker, I must also congratulate him for looking at the serious areas where many issues have been arising, especially on the areas concerning roads. Madam Speaker, I wish to congratulate the chair and the committee for putting much considerations on the issues to do with the roads. Madam Speaker, remember this year rains have ravaged the country, Madam Speaker, so that even the roads which had been done properly, Madam Speaker, currently most of the roads in the country are impassable, so that we literally have to redo the roads like they have never existed before. But Madam Speaker, I would have wished our chairman, given the limited resources, I would have wished if the resources were enough. Madam Speaker, I would have wished to see the extension of what we used to call low-volume roads, which were initiated in the previous regime, being continued at this current situation, so that those low-volume roads, Madam Speaker, made very serious impact on the societies that we come from, and most of them have also been almost destroyed by the water. I mean, by the rains, and would have been prudent, Madam Speaker, if those roads were repaired, and of course, extension of those. It was around 10 kilometers per constituency. Would have been also prudent if they were extended to 20 kilometers so that we could. But of course, we understand the constraints of the budget. Madam Speaker, there is also the question of electricity, which I want to thank the committee for putting much considerations. I would have also wished they also allocated more funds, and this is also a request that we are asking them, that in future, let us also ensure that the last mile connectivity, which had been initiated in the previous regime, is also continued so that people can access electricity, because electricity has also become one of the basic needs of our people, because most of the things we do nowadays, Madam Speaker, you cannot do them without electricity. So if we were to have electricity connections in every village, every household, then of course we will be able to access many developmental activities that we have. Madam Speaker, on the sector of education, Madam Speaker, and this was another area where we also had a discussion, I want to thank the committee and the chairman for their consideration of that sector. In this situation, Madam Speaker, and I think we will also be requesting or asking the committee and the chairman to please consider in the future, that as much as we have allocated money for capitation in both primary and secondary education, we must also consider one day, we allocate money to cater for the school feeding programs, not only on primary, but on day secondary education. Madam Speaker, remember, the introduction of free day secondary education was a great relief to most of the parents. And it had gone a long way in ensuring that many students who would have missed education because of the cost of education on secondary boarding schools, etc. Madam Speaker, when free day secondary education was introduced in this country, most of the children from the poor backgrounds have accessed education as we speak today, Madam Speaker. We have sent so many students to universities, we have sent so many students to colleges, and we have even sent so many students abroad who are the products of these day secondary schools. We would have wished as an extension, Madam Speaker, on the issue of day, because currently most of the students are sent home from day schools, and yet those day schools are free. You don't pay fees, but the major problem affecting those particular students is feeding programs. They are being sent home to bring fees to pay for food. Madam Speaker, it would have been prudent also if the committee and the chair was to consider adding 3,000 or even 5,000 on top of capitation so that we can take that one